I moved to the United States from Muslim part of Russia called Circassia. And I like observing the differences between tough Russians and kind Americans. Russians never smile, while Americans are known for their beautiful smile. When Russians are angry, they shout at you, while Americans are nicely passive-aggressive. The only thing that I can't understand is that tough Russians are not allowed to carry guns, while Americans have the Second Amendment. And I always wondered why Americans are so passionate about guns. One day I decided to visit a local gun shop out of curiosity. And as I walked in, I was overwhelmed with the diversity of weaponry, including air rifles, semi-automatic pistols, and scary-looking BB guns. And the gun shop owner, with an impressive mustache, looked as if he walked straight out of a Western movie. He was wearing cowboy boots, huge belt buckle, a massive gun on his hip, and a tiny chihuahua under his arm. I made an eye contact with Chihuahua, and I could hear the dogs as the dog was thinking, "Well, Dorothy, I guess you're not in Circassia anymore." And I thought I had enough of cultural shock for the day and was about to leave when suddenly I saw something that I could not resist buying. It was a turkey collar. It was a whistle that hunters use to trick turkeys into the open and shoot them. And I immediately knew that I desperately needed a turkey collar. I told the shop owner, "Can I have the turkey collar?" He said, "That's a crow whistle. The turkey on the label is just a picture of the brand. Sorry, we are out of turkey collars. Are you hunting turkeys?" "No," I said, "but I was born thanks to turkeys." I said, "I'm from the Muslim part of Russia called Circassia, where we have all sorts of strange customs. Circassians marry young, and younger siblings cannot marry before the older ones, and parents and children barely talk to each other out of respect." So when my father turned 30 years old and was still unmarried, he created a crisis in the family. From one hand, he inadvertently was holding his two younger brothers who were impatiently waiting to marry. And from the other hand, my grandfather couldn't remind my father to marry because that was not the appropriate conversation a father and son could have. However, my grandfather was known in our village for his practical jokes. And this time he used his talent to resolve the crisis in the family. When he heard that his older son was dating my future mother, my grandpa decided to expedite their relationship in quite an innovative way. He bought 24 turkeys, released them in his house yard, and publicly announced, "I bought these turkeys for my older son's wedding party." Since then, every time Grandpa saw my father in the yard, he would shout loudly at the turkeys, "I regret I bought you, you useless birds." Now turkeys are known for their intolerance to noise. And every time my grandpa shouted at them, 24 turkeys shouted back, "Gobble, gobble, gobble." Only they were Circassian turkeys, so they shouted back in my Circassian native language, kuni kuni kwah kwah. And the whole village was reminded that this 30 years old dude still was unmarried and holding his younger brothers waiting for their turn to marry. My father married soon after that. I'm not sure if he married under the pressure of Goblin, but I want to believe that the 24 turkeys contributed to expedite him proposing to my mother, and I want to believe that I was born thanks to turkeys. As I told that story to the gun shop owner, I noticed that his mustache twinkled a little bit, and he said, "Now I want to find you a turkey collar so much." He and Chihuahua disappeared in the back room, and I started hearing this cacophony of noises, including boxes falling, loud cursing, and Chihuahua barking. Finally, he re-emerged and said, "I'm sorry, I couldn't find any turkey collar. But here's what I can do. If you give me your card, I will let you know as soon as I find the turkey collar." So several weeks later, I received a package with a turkey collar and a card from the gun shop owner saying, "Thank you very much for sharing your culture and the story of your birth with me. Please accept this small gift as a welcome to America." I was glad that my exotic and probably weird Circassian story resonated with Americans, but I'll confess, I always suspected that people who sold guns imagined that they were doing it in order to protect America against Muslims. And the last thing I expected that a gun shop owner would send a welcome to America gift to a Muslim like me. So I was deeply touched by that gesture. The thing, however, that I didn't tell the gun shop owner was the real reason why I wanted the turkey collar. I moved to the United States 7 years before that, and I still didn't find a significant other. So I secretly hoped that, like turkeys helped my father marry my mom, the turkey collar somehow could help me find a wife. So as soon as the turkey collar arrived, I took it to the local park just to see if it would attract a woman. I whistled into the turkey collar, and would you know it, a fit brunette jogger instantly stopped next to me. I'm kidding, nobody stopped. In fact, the brunette jogger started running faster in opposite direction. But the good news is that eventually I attracted a beautiful brunette, no thanks to turkey collar.